Alright, hi guys, and welcome to another sort of battle report style video. This one is for a recent tournament that I just played yesterday on the 20th of January in Brno, my hometown, or I should say my current hometown for the last 10 years or so. Yeah, more than 10. And no notes made for this one, no smooth info cards lying around, so I'm just doing it all from memory and with no real plan. So I wouldn't expect anything particularly streamlined from this particular recording, but I'll do my best. So this one was, I think, the penultimate, I want to say, in our league series. The community leaders from the various cities around Czech Republic and Slovakia sort of came together to create this very cool league system with points sort of on two different sides, one for tournament achievements, so in terms of basically performance, and then on the other side for more fluff-based achievements that you could do, like fully painted crews. You can tell I don't really focus on this side of things. Playing the same fixed crew in every game, playing without any versatiles or out of keyword ones. I'm pretty confident I'm never going to score that. And one or two others like that. You had all these options, and so this is the second to last tournament as part of that league system. It's been running for months, and I think the last one will be in Kostelec, so I might have that wrong again. I can't remember pronunciation wise, never my strong suit. Anyway, So other than that, it was sort of a more local, usual tournament. We originally, a couple of guys from Poland were planning to make it, but they couldn't in the end, sadly. The public transport didn't line up, and they didn't get enough together for a car full, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up with, I think, either 12 or 14 of us, I can't remember. And so that was mostly the guys from Brno and from Bratislava, and one or two people traveling from a bit further afield in the Czech Republic, so that was nice. And this time, my personal sort of route was that until recently, a few days ago, I was unbelievably heavily focused on the MWS finals. So I was trying to get as far as I could in that tournament, and basically all of my focus has been on Vassal for almost a month now. And I felt like I was sort of losing enthusiasm a little bit for the local event that was coming up, and I thought that's sad. I don't want that. So how can I regain enthusiasm? I don't want to take focus away from the game that I care about the most. Those sort of best of the best Vassal tournaments are where that's what I love about. For me, that is the essence of tabletop gaming. It's really sort of playing all year, doing the best you can, qualifying for something, then going through group stages and then elimination stages, and then trying to get to the last. That for me it's just the best feeling you can get in wargaming. And I know that other people enjoy painting minis or drinking beer. Cool. I'm really glad you enjoy that part of the game. It's not for me. So that was my focus. But as a result of that, I was sort of coming up to this tournament and going, normally I would have saved all the pools in my phone the moment they were released, and then played each one of them several times in home games, decided already on which masters I was planning to run, and I would probably have gone through Longshanks, looked at who was coming, looked at the faction spread, and worked out, okay, well, if I hit Neverborn on round 2, I will play this, and if I hit anyone but Damien on this, I'll play this, and if it's Damien, I'll do this, but in this case, I just hadn't looked at it, and I really didn't care, and that was sad. That was like unusual for me. So I thought, right, this is the time then. I've been talking about getting a second faction for ages, and so I did. I finally went out and bought some Explorers, which is I've sort of known for a long time that they would be my second faction, but now finally gone and done it. And it was Maxine that caught my eye the most in terms of her crew and the fact that I liked both versions, the titles of the master. So I always I'm really drawn to Masters where you can play both titles, because I think in Thunders, you know, I play Lynch a lot and you can only really play Lynch 2. I play Yoko a lot, you can only play Yoko 2. So when Lyn finally came around and both versions of Lyn were strong for different reasons, oh God, I love it. I love being able to actually have two playable Masters with a different feel. And so I feel like Maxine really gives you that. And so I really, really wanted to try her out. So I bought her, and I already had McCabe from Thunders. So I, you know, just bought some botanists to allow me to play sort of Explorers McCabe as well. And going back briefly to the idea of that sort of fluff achievements side of thing, I thought, right, well, I'm going to score points here, actually, for playing a faction I haven't played before, for winning a game, you know, hopefully, with a master that I haven't played before. And I thought, well, it wouldn't be that hard to offer my opponent the choice of masters. That was another thing you could score a point on. You know, you basically say, right, which master do you want me to play, this one or this one? And so I thought, well, I'll offer them McCabe and Maxine and see which one they go. And then I thought, well, I don't know Explorers well enough to actually do any tech picking anyway, so why don't I just sort of pick a crew that I want to learn and then just play a fixed crew, and that'll score me another 2 points for this, that, and the other. So again, you can sort of see why, even for players like me that have no interest in fluff whatsoever, this sort of fluff league system really does occasionally give people like different chances to be motivated by different things, and to allow you to still really push for achieving stuff. Even if you don't think you can win the event, you can still win your personal goal. I can't recommend it enough. I think it's an amazing idea, a really good system, and I fully support it. And if anyone is out there thinking, oh yeah, we should do something like that, and they want me to put them in touch with the guys that came up with it, or to, you know, share some ideas about how they did it. Obviously, I had nothing to do with it. It's not my idea. I just think it's really good. Then let me know and I'll put you in touch. This is getting pretty long. Let's try and move on a bit. So, 3-round tournament, usual sort of one-day format. And first round, I paired up against a local. We play quite a lot. He's currently on Arcanists, and he was playing Damien. Obviously, for those who know, I recently lost the top 4 to Damien, so I was a bit sad about facing Damien again. He's the most broken thing in the game, and my... Oh, is he my least favourite? No, he's probably my second least favourite thing to play against after Seamus. I have a decent win rate against Seamus. I just absolutely hate the fact that you don't get to pick your own crew. Because basically, against Seamus, you just have to pick stuff that can survive his shot somehow. Against Damien, you've basically... Well, you've got to hope your opponent makes a mistake. And so I hate sort of leaving the game in the hands of the opponent. You don't really have a say. If they play well, you lose. And that sucks. That really sucks. But fortunately for me, my opponent was a bit rusty. Said as much before we even got in, to the game. He's like, I've not played for a bit. I've certainly not played Damien, and I really want to test out Duet and sort of try some stuff there. And so I felt like I might have a chance, and it turns out I did. So round 1, we came in, and it was Maxine2. I gave him the choice of McCabe or Maxine. He chose Maxine, because he knows that I've played quite a bit of McCabe. So it was sort of like, right, well, let's make you, melt your brain a little bit and learn a new master on the fly. And then, it'd be a bit more of an even fight, because he's sort of relearning Damien and relearning the game. He's been, out of the game for a minute, not been playing a lot, and I've been playing a ton, but on Thunders, right? So if he makes me play Maxine in Explorers, it evens the game up a little bit. Which, yeah, was pretty accurate. So one of the things was clock. So I spent a lot of time reading my own cards, checking what the hell this does. Does that synergize? Does this work? I've worked out, by the way, and I'll come on to it, but I definitely cheated some people during the day. Fortunately, I didn't win or anything, so it's not like it mattered. But yeah, for example, Maxine2's bonus, which is the shockwave, where if you fail, you can place your models anywhere within the shockwave, and it's a shockwave 2, so it's quite a really serious like rearrangement of models. It's really cool ability, really love it. But only her keyword models can choose to fail, and the whole day I was fucking around with the emissary, and I was playing Mikhail out of keyword, and I was placing them around all over the show. So I would have to flip and fail and cheat down or whatever to do that, and I wasn't doing that. So that's kind of sucked. Anyway, you only work this out after the fact, and frankly, I didn't win, so it doesn't matter. So first game we play Damien versus Maxine2. It's on, I think, flank deployment. Yes, flank deployment, and it was, God, was it Cloak and Dagger? No, it wasn't. It was Raid the Vaults. Raid the Vaults. Cool. Yeah, Raid the Vaults. So I was running Maxine2 with a Tidecaller, Emissary, Mikhail out of keyword, then Bow Fishfucker, and Calypso and Beeb. I feel like I'm missing a model. Oh, Totem. Yeah, sure. So I wanted to test it. Mikhail was a cool little pick because he can move towards stuff that's healed. When he damages something with his 3/4/5 blade, it heals a model within 4 for 1. And Maxine has an ability where if she's on the center line, she's on stat 8. And then she basically turns off healing for you, and anyone that heals near you takes a damage. It has like slightly Yedza feels to it. And I thought, you know, obviously Mikhail from Yedza's crew, her henchman, had some synergy there and was, very, very cool. I really enjoyed playing him. And I was saying after the... Sorry, I got the hiccups now. I was saying after the tournament that models which feel really, really good some of the time and really like, oh, he's not that great in this situation because they've done something different, that's a really good indication to me of balance. Sort of like this model can be great if you pick the right situation, or if your opponent picks the wrong strategy into you and sort of gives you, for example, if you've got a bubble busting model and they bubble up, fantastic. But if they suddenly spread all over the map, then that model starts to feel a bit damp and a bit like, oh. And you sort of think, right, this is a good spot for it to be in. And Maxine2 felt very much the same way, which was like sometimes when she can dive in and massive tentacles and move stuff around and ping damage and turn off healing, then she feels amazing. But sometimes when they're really spread out, when there's no sort of models around, or when there's a lot of incorporeal or whatever, and her ping damage gets kind of shut down a little bit, then it starts to feel a bit rough. And you think that is a really good indication that this model is well balanced, because you have to find the right solution. You can't just jam them into any list anywhere. But when they sort of hit the right spot, they work really, really well, and they do what they're supposed to do. So I think that was cool, and I had a lot of feelings about that from Maxine and Maxine's crew, that they had a lot of that going on. Like, if I play these correctly, if I get into the situation that they're supposed to be in, they're great, they're really good, and they feel good, and they fight well. And if they don't, and I end up, you know, fucking around in a forest where I don't deal with Severe that well, and blah, 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 then that's my fault, and absolutely should be the case that it doesn't work very well. And that was really nice to see. Right, massive tangent. Let's come back to the game. Damien 1, Maxine2 flank. So I used Tidecaller to toss Emissary and Mikhail and Maxine up towards the middle, and used Bow to sort of follow on behind, ready to heal any damage that sort of came onto them. Emissary designed to sort of take the hit and be on defense 7 and this and that. Obviously not great against Damien, but I was playing a fixed crew, so it wasn't like I teched against Damien or anything. Fortunately, he chose Duet and chose to go sort of very aggressive with her. So Duet sort of waited till the end of turn 1 and then charged into my crew. He hadn't thought about, and I really hadn't thought about until it happened, that Maxine2's ability to turn off healing completely screws the Duet, who wants to split and then dance back together. But the wording of dancing back together is that they basically heal. You know, they heal the amount and get their health back to the full amount for the Duet, but they can't heal. And because both of them have the no healing trigger, I'm pretty confident that we played it correctly, that basically they can't, it doesn't matter which one he splits into. Normally Duet gets around all game effects in the game by saying, oh, I'm staggered, no problem. The one that was activated is staggered, and the one that I'm now playing with is not staggered, so fuck you. You know, I get to do whatever the hell I want. And Duet gets around most rules in the game by doing that, and the replace rules are kind of fucked. But in this case, I was able to really sort of trap her in, turn off her healing, and then use that no healing ability to ping damage onto her. And obviously she's an armor 2 model, they hate getting pinged, and I essentially just pinged her to death. So that was great. That really gave me a way into the game, because my original plan was charge Damien, but he took quite a few stones. He had Loeth in the list and was playing pretty defensively, which really screwed him in the end. So Loeth got kind of stuck. We were playing on this Colosseum map with like a circular ring of arches, like big blocking impassable arches, and Loeth got kind of stuck behind them and stuck behind his own puzzle box and essentially had to come around. So we wasted like 2 turns of Loeth trying to sort of get him into position, and then Raid the Vaults wasn't going very well for him because I kept my totem alive with a red joker. So jokers were very, very impactful in this game and very much on my side. So I think, was it my emissary? I think it was Mikhail. Mikhail lived because he black jokered, or I red jokered, I can't remember, his Damien bonus. So the irreducible turning off armor, completely imbalanced attack. And because of that, Mikhail then had armor 1 for the rest of the turn and was able to survive and then get healed up and then kill stuff. So it was really, really, really impactful. And again, my red joker saved my totem, who then went on to completely waste the Soulstone Miner's time. So he wasn't able to deal with the strategy. Because he wasn't able to deal with the strategy, he ended up having to sort of hold back with Loeth for a turn just to score it. And then Loeth was just getting so wasted, and Duet was getting pinged to death and not getting to do much. Because when she can't dance apart, she doesn't get activation control, she doesn't get extra movement, she doesn't get to do what the hell she wants, which she normally does. So Duet was kind of fucked, Loeth was kind of fucked, and that is about half his list, right? That's 25 stones or something mad. So it's not, but you know what I mean. And so that really gave me a chance. So even though I was just sort of, it was my first game with Maxine2 ever, I'd played 1 game with Maxine1, but I thought I'll try 2 because I like the look of her and I think she's cool. And she was really, really cool. Like being able to sort of move my own models and like shuffle everything around and put my emissary in his face and put Maxine back into a forest and then, you know, heal her up a little bit with Bo. He killed Bo pretty fast after that. Like I only got 1 round of healing off with Bo, but it was good. It really helped. And there's enough sort of ping heal going on, like EVS models heal when they cheat with their reconfiguration ability. It's a complete mind bender to keep hold of. I very rarely use Deep Discovery, which allows me to cheat with the top card of his discard pile. When you're playing on Vassal, that's much easier because you can sort of really quickly and easily have a look at their top of their discard. But in real life, like when the light's shining on a sleeved card and you can't really read the numbers and you don't know which suit it is, and also like most people don't play with like a conflict and a discard pile. They just put the conflict directly on top of the discard pile. Most players I know do that, and why not? Well, because it makes it a real bitch to see what the hell the next card is, and you also don't really want to draw your opponent's attention to the fact that you're really closely checking what their discard pile is so that you can use it. And I also wasn't entirely sure whether cheating from their discard pile, if it matched my reconfigure, counted as cheating with my reconfigure card suit or not. If anyone wants to drop in the comments whether I can do that, that would be cool. So there's a lot to think about with Maxine, and there's a lot to think about with Damien, in fairness, but when you think about it and do it, then you win. So it's a bit different. But in this case, I was able to focus on my schemes and focus on the strategy and just basically focus on scoring while having a bit of fun with Maxine. Was able to do that. I did clock out in the end, but it was already like he just had the sort of the end of turn 4, like the last activation, and then turn 5. So he was able to bring some points back, but by that point I'd already shut him out. I'd tabled a lot of his models. I'd got the other ones really jammed up, and I'd already taken massive control over the scheme side of things with Beeb and Calypso, who were just going and shitting out scheme markers and scoring information overload twice on their own, and then getting to his back marker for raid and really helping me out for strategy. So Beeb and Calypso doing solid work, i.e. doing nothing at all and just pissing out schemes and being in the right place. Maxine doing the Lord's work and killing Duet, and Damien fortunately fucking it up and not just tabling me. So that was great. Managed to win the first one, 7-3 or thereabouts. Second game, go into Fingerlin, one of the 2 best players in Bratislava, and spoiler alert, they ended up finishing first and second, so yeah, fair enough. It doesn't surprise me, but I think it surprised them. They're always sort of underestimating their abilities a little bit. Anyway, so he came in and was aware that I was playing Maxine. You know, I have a very limited explorers lineup. I only have 2 masters, and I'd sort of mentioned that I was going for this achievement. So he had an idea that I was definitely playing Maxine, and he probably had an idea of approximately what list I was bringing. So he sat down for a minute, had a little think about it, and he was playing Outcasts. and brought Tara, which I thought was a really smart pick for the pool. And a really smart pick for the matchup. She was great for both. So essentially, Tara with the Wanted Criminal upgrade on a table which only had 2 types of terrain. It had about 16 pieces of blocking impassable, and then it had 2 pieces of severe, which were both near or in my deployment. So essentially, the entire map was blocking impassable, and he had Tara with Wanted Criminal. So it meant that pretty much anywhere he was on the map, regardless, he could get the free movement 2 inches twice, and theoretically get the marker removal bonus twice. And the pool had 4 schemes in it which required scheme markers. So it was absolutely ideal for Tara with Wanted Criminal. It was a really good pick. And additionally, obviously, I'm running Maxine and EVS. I had Beeb and Calypso in my list, and so playing Tara, or even just taking a Tara obliteration model out of keyword, would have been enough to force me to keep Beeb out of Calypso, which really, really reduces their effectiveness. And also then Calypso's willpower drops to 1, which makes Glimpse the Void, and also stutter time to be able to give me fast and give him places to unbury. It's incredibly good against Beeb and Calypso. So it was a really good pick for the pool and for the matchup. And so I was thinking, right, well, this one's pretty screwed from the off. So I chose 2 schemes that I wouldn't like to choose with my crew. It was just the only ones that involved the least possible scheme markers. So I took Deliver a Message and Deathbeds, because I thought I only need to have the scheme marker down for the moment that I kill something, and then if he removes it, well, so be it, So not what I wanted to take at all, but I took them. And then I saw him going for outflank, so he sort of put his Master and 33 and anything else? No, I think that was it on that side. And then he had sort of a Prospector on the other side and a little guy, and then Ionis somewhere in the middle. So I thought, right, okay, he's going for outflank. And I knew that if I wanted to score any sort of schemes, I basically needed to kill Tara. Unfortunately, he'd prepared for that and had 9 Soulstone bank. So I did go after Tara, really tried to kill her, and having the no healing and stagger ability on Maxine2 made it basically very difficult for him to unbury her if he buried her. So there was some sort of counterplay going on there. I was winning initiative quite a lot, so I was able to sort of get Maxine to go first and really put pressure on Tara. But her ability to just Wanted Criminal away and then walk or leap, her pseudo leap, made it incredibly hard to pin her down. I wasn't able to kill her. I wasn't able to prevent outflank on that side because Bow, which was my only sort of scheme removal, only had Scion as a target, and that's a henchman for some god-known reason. So he was able to sort of prevent me getting that blast with the ram trigger to remove markers, so I couldn't stop the outflank. I was hoping to basically collapse one flank, prevent outflank, and then just sit on that strategy marker and collect intel and make his life difficult. I wasn't able to do that. He was able to basically clean up and thrash me 7-3 in the end. So I did manage to get 1 deathbed, I did manage to deliver the message, and I managed to get 1 intel, but that was it. That's all I could manage. And it was really solid crew selection and control of that crew. So great game. And then 3rd game, I met the brother of my opponent in round 1, so another local, and he was playing Dreamer, and he's recently been playing a fair amount of Dreamer 1, but he switched to Dreamer 2. He plays Dreamer 2 as well, but he was trying Dreamer 2 on this day, and he was sort of following the British player Emma's Dreamer 2 kind of list style and wanting to try that out and see how does that play. So for those who don't know, that's sort of 3 Insidious Madness, 3 Wicked Dolls, and 3 Daydreams. So you've just got an unbelievable number of models, an unbelievable number of Lucid Dream models, and Insidious Madness are broken as hell. So it's sort of a combination of stealth models, Daydream models, and broken models, and then Dreamer 2 sort of filling in the gaps. He threw in a little tech piece, the Widow Weaver. So I think he had 1 less Insidious and 1 more Widow Weaver. Nice choice. I thought that was all right. And she was very useful in this game. And we were playing on Stuff the Ballots. So it was corner. The map was horrible. It was entirely covered in severe terrain, massive forests everywhere. But at least I could bury Beeb and Calypso this time. So they were able to sort of wander off and start getting ready to drop some scheme markers and stuff for protected territory. as usual, tossed Maxine and Emissary and Mikhail sort of up the middle, and then started following along with Bo and Tide. He sort of lead Nightmare onto all of his stuff and sort of got Widow Weaver and Chompy somewhere closer to the middle, and then chucked down a Weaver web marker or whatever, and then punched Chompy and teleported him to it to sort of launch him forwards. And so we ended up in the middle, sort of staring each other down. Maxine wasn't able to get the stagger onto Chompy. I tried, but the forest was giving concealment, so I had to sort of do a concentrate and then try once. And he has willpower 7, so even though I had 8, I didn't really want to spend a 13 on it. And he had the 13 to spend, so he chose to defend. And so on and so forth. So I maybe could have committed more to that. Anyway, the result of that was that I didn't know Chompy had some anti-armor ranged attack. I've always just seen him, chomping. But in this case, he was doing some anti-armor stuff against Calypso. That forced me to use initiative to go first, try and save Calypso, so disengage, walk onward back towards the Emissary to take the hit, and also to then start doing all this, EVS, Maxine2, cheating suits to heal, and then getting Mikhail to damage something and healing, and da-da-da-da-da. So lots of little ping heals basically saved Calypso, but in doing so, I kind of gave up that flank, and he collapsed it by killing my totem over there with an Insidious Madness. And that was really bad for me. So that really secured him that corner, which gives him sort of both ballots fully under his control and allowed him access to get round the back to the ballot on my side. On the other corner, I was trying really, really hard. There was a big building that was kind of blocking off the center of the table, and he had to go around it. And I was trying to get there first to stop him reaching that corner. So essentially, even though he'd collapsed that corner, I was hoping to basically block him off, collapse this corner, and control the other side so it'd be even. But damn it, he got a wicked doll through, and he just sat there voting for free and sort of controlling that side. So that was really annoying, and I never managed to shift that doll. So voting became really tricky. I'm controlling the middle, he's controlling everywhere else. And he was basically leading the game for the majority of it. Mikhail and Maxine and the Tide and Emissary sort of were pushing and starting to kill off some of the smaller models, dealing some damage, or at least killing the odd doll or Daydream, or pressuring a Madness and tossing it back towards his deployment and stuff like that. But his Widow Weaver has kind of free movement. She can teleport around using the web, so she was teleporting and voting. Chompy, I managed to kill him relatively early on with Maxine, I think it was. Yeah, and unactivated as well. So that was a big turning point in the game. But he managed to summon him back later. But by that point, I'd really got control of the middle, and I'd also got control of his spawn. So I'm starting to clean up his Daydreams. There was a really important moment where I killed 2 Daydreams unactivated with Tidecaller, and that really gave me the activation control to get the scoring back in my favor a little bit on that turn. And that led us into the stage where we got down to about 1 minute left each. So it's down to those sort of last minute, really tricky, fast action, late game kind of things. And I've just got a lot more practice doing those from the War Machine days of just sort of identifying the movements that are important and just, very quickly doing the other stuff, just getting it out of the way. So walk, interact, walk, vote, just clock back. And he sort of got a bit stressed, and he had about, he's playing a crew where you've got 11 models or something, so it's a bit more difficult to keep track of what the hell needs to happen and who goes and who has gone, and eventually he sort of ran out of time, and that allowed me to sort of have a quick look and just make sure that my plan still stood, which was right. I can cancel his ensnare by using the Emissary to intimidating roar the model away from the scheme markers. I can vote there, and I can deny this and then score my protected territory, and everything will be fine. So I managed to, in the end, sort of bring back a game that I was probably losing. I think ever since I let that doll go through, and ever since he killed my totem on the other side and sort of forced me to retreat with Calypso, he took a really good lead in the early game. I turned it around a little bit in the mid game, but it was really the end game where I managed to sort of just come through on time, just about. and that brought it back to a 7-7 draw. So we ended up with a really close game. I really enjoyed it. They're always really challenging games between me and Vitek. So yeah, I had a really fun day testing out Maxine and trying a new faction, and just sort of taking a little break from Thunders just for a minute. I mean, I have every intention of going back to Thunders and playing Thunders for the next many tournaments, but I just wanted to have a little taste of a different faction, and it reminded me how long it takes for me to get like muscle memory with a crew. So even after 3 games in a row, like playing Maxine the whole day, even on the 3rd game, I didn't feel like I knew my cards. I didn't know my stats. It takes me as a player a very long time to get comfortable with new stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I don't faction hop very much at all ever, because it takes me so long to get the faction knowledge in the first place that I don't want to waste it by hopping around. But eventually I would like to have more than one faction available so that I'm not sort of one-tricking specific things. So, you know, the good news is I play so much Malifaux that I have the available time to sort of learn more than one faction, even though it takes me so long to learn one. So to finish off the event recap, my opponent from the 2nd round, who was playing Tara Fingerlin, ended up winning the event, so he won all 3 of his games. I forget who his round 3 opponent was. I should know it, but I don't. And behind him in 2nd place was Christoph, the other sort of more tournament-focused player from Bratislava, who was playing Von Stuck 2 the entire day. And he managed to, pull out a very solid result, especially considering he was drinking a fair amount, I believe. Not unusual, but, you know, Czech and Slovak guys seem to be able to play with quite a lot more beer in their system than I can. And so, yeah, they pulled out really solid results. And it's nice because very often the guys from my city, Brno, we tend to go to other local metas and sort of dominate the podium. So it was really cool to sort of see the competition sparked again, and see other people coming to our city and spanking us. So now we've got a reason to sort of go back and really compete and bring it to the next tournament in Bratislava. So anyone who lives anywhere locally or is willing to travel, always remember to reach out if you want to get in touch and need a sofa to sleep on. I'm more than happy to provide, and I will give you all the information and Longshanks links and all that sort of good stuff if you want to take part. Also, if you're anywhere within 5-6 hours of Brno and you are hosting an event, do let me know. I am usually pretty happy to travel to join other communities if I can, and I think that is already far too long of a video, so I will wrap this up here. Thanks once again to Rox for organising that tournament, and for Black Oil for hosting it. They were, as always, great, and really enjoyed it. So yeah, I hope you're all well, and I will see you for the next one. Take care.